Hello and welcome to Crucible of Words for more dedicated legacy action. Today we are playing some Monoblack Aggro using a new card from the Final Fantasy set, that is Cecil Dark Knight. This has been quite an exciting one that a lot of people are pretty hyped for. It's a 1 mana 2/3 Death Toucher. When it deals damage you lose that much life. Then if your life total is less than or equal to half your starting life total, you untap it and then transform it, and it becomes a 4/4 lifelinker that gives your other creatures indestructible when you attack. So this is just a very efficient beta that is going to be able to trade into anything because of Death Touch. So we are playing it in like the Monoblack Aggro shell, where instead of playing Stalactite Stalker, we have this Cecil Dark Knight. Now we are running 4 of them and it is legendary, so we may trip on our own toes a little bit, but whilst this is in play, you should be doing pretty well, and you can always flip it and then play the other one and have it back on blocks and just have this really annoying body for your opponents to try and get through, which I quite like the sound of as well. So the rest of this deck is pretty familiar. You know, we've got Nethergoyfs and Barrowgoyfs. We've got ourselves some disruptive 2-drops in Dauthi Voidwalker and Orcish Bowmasters. We've got some Hymns of Tourach, beautiful card. Some Thoughtseizes to tackle our opponent, getting the good stuff out of their hand. We've got Dark Ritual to power some stuff out quickly. We've got Nihil Spellbomb so that we can get ourselves out of any sticky graveyard situations. And we've got some removal in Fatal Push and this Fell the Profane. I am keeping the same mana base that you would have when you're playing Stalactite Stalker, but this gives us the ability to go and fetch Surveil lands so we can have a little look at the top of our library. And also we want fetch lands to go in our graveyard to make sure we can power out our Nethergoyf. So it still makes sense to have these. And reducing our life total to half isn't the worst when we have Cecil flipping over. Sideboard wise, we've got some removal in Sheoldred's Edict and Feed the Swarm. Feed the Swarm, importantly, you can kill enchantments. We've got ourselves some opposition agents for like Doomsday and crop rotation-y, natural order style decks. Got Plague Engineer. We've got ourselves some Leyline in the Void, just need a lot of graveyard hate these days. Torpor Orb to shut down some Enters the Battlefield stuff, so this is good against the Doomsday decks as well as D&T and stuff like that. We have a Powder Keg, which can blow up some artifacts, which is something that we can't necessarily blow up without it. And then we've got ourselves a Null Rod to shut down some of these like Carnforge style decks. So yeah, we disrupt our opponents, we beat them down, just good old fashioned magic. I do enjoy playing this style of deck, it just feels very wholesome, which is quite the statement given we are running him to Tourach. Alright, strap in, like, subscribe, and let's take this Cecil out for a spin. If you've been watching my content and thinking, I'd like to play some Legacy too, then check out 3for1 Trading, one of Europe's leading Magic the Gathering retailers. They have weekly offers and upload new cards every Wednesday. And it's not just Legacy stuff they sell. They have a beautiful selection of vintage and old school cards too. Support from sponsors like 3for1 Trading make it possible for me to put out videos and help keep Legacy alive, so why not give them some love? Click their link in the description below and use my code COW3 to enjoy free worldwide shipping on your first order over €500. Right, we're on the play with a pretty serviceable looking hand. We can keep this. We can Thoughtseize and him, or we can Nethergoyf and him and follow up with a Thoughtseize. That sounds pretty good. I'm going to get Swamp here, cast a Dark Ritual. And then we're going to him, see what they discard, and see if they're the sort of deck that means that we need to Thoughtseize them as well. Thoughtseize and a Polluted Delta. Well, I'd rather just get this Nethergoyf in. We've got a 3/4. Starting on the front foot. We've got the ability to Thoughtseize and Fatal Push next turn. Let's keep the pressure up. Oh wow, was that their only land? Sucks to be you, opponent, I guess. Let's take another little peek at what they're up to. Alright, so they're one of these people, are they? So they got 2 and 2, so we can't strip that from our opponents. Do I take the Daze to stop them being able to defend whatever they're doing? Do I take the Thoughtseize so that we can preserve what's left of our hand? Alright, they're just scooping it while we're making a decision. Okay, I'll take that. Turn 1 Hymns to Tourach, still good after all these years. The dream. Okay, so our opponent's shown us enough of their decks so we know what they're up to. I guess we board in these Leylines. It feels kind of awkward actually. Maybe we're going to not board in the Leylines because we've already got the Nihil Spellbombs and the Dauthi Voidwalkers. That should be enough. And then, do you want any of these things? Like, there's an argument for having the Sheoldred's Edicts in. I don't hate that as a strategy, but what do we take out for them becomes the next question. I don't really want to be Wastelanding my opponent, but sometimes it ends up being the right call. I think I would rather have the removal spells in the Wasteland against our opponent, who is going to be fetching out basics very easily. Okay, let's try this. I think having 7 pieces of Graveyard Hate for a deck that can pivot off of Graveyard Plans is enough. Alright, first appearance of Cecil. Let's see how we fare here. So we're probably going to be like Thoughtseizing on one. But we've got a lot of beef in our hand here. Thoughtseize, be my guest. So again, our opponent has the basic. Okay, they didn't want us to hymn them again. Fair enough. Considering our opponent could just go into and reanimate next turn, I'm going to go get a basic swamp here, and I'm going to Thoughtseize our opponent. What are you working with? What you got? Barrowgoyf, Fatal Push, Force of Will, Ponder. I don't care about them Force of Willing our stuff. I don't want to play against a Barrowgoyf. So I think this is an easy pick. Take the Barrowgoyf. We don't have them. Like, we do have the Fatal Push. It's not the best answer because our Wasteland just has to we have to 2 for 1 ourselves to kill the Barrowgoyf. And if our opponent wants to spend 2 cards to counterspell one of our things, that's fine by me. This is going to go get them a basic island, so we're being rewarded for boarding out some Wastelands, although we have drawn one. Does this mean they drew a blue card to go with this Force of Will, or are they just in a situation where they think it's not important? They just need to get things going and can rely on the Fatal Push for a turn cycle. Would love to draw a swamp here. Or a fetch hand. Neither of those. Okay. Do we play out... There's no point playing out this Nethergoyf into this Fatal Push, I don't think. We need to play 2 creatures in 1 turn cycle to overload it. I don't really want to burn my Orcish Bowmasters on this either, so probably just going to have a turn where we just stare at each other, and then we go back to our turn, and hopefully we can draw a swamp and deploy 2 things. Okay, I think it's just getting to a time where we're just going to deploy the Nethergoyf then. It's not really what I wanted from this turn. They're just going to Fatal Push it. No, they have an Orcish Bowmasters. Sure. That's fine. If they get Surveil Land, we can punish it with this Wasteland, but it does take us off of a second mana source. Just depends how much we think we can play with 1 mana here quite well, I would say, and how important is this land to our opponent. This is the land that lets them cast a Barrowgoyf, but we can then Wasteland and Fatal Push if they have a Barrowgoyf. So I think we're just going to keep our land to ourselves, because if we can Bowmasters away their Bowmaster, that's kind of annoying for them. But we didn't really care about their Bowmasters. It's not very good against us, apart from killing our Bowmaster. That's pretty much the only thing it does. Would have loved to have been able to have a Bowmaster and play for this, but we know they have the Fatal Push, so we couldn't just ram it in there and hope for the best. But we have the biggest creature on board. We don't really know anything in their hand. I'd be amazed if they didn't have this Fatal Push still. Are they going to trade a Bowmasters into this? I'll take that trade. So they play a Bowmasters here. It pings our Nethergoyf, and then it grows their Orc Army, and then these trade. But then we can get the Nethergoyf back later. A Verdant Catacombs. I will take that. And I will play... So we know they have a Fatal Push over there. I'm going to play the Cecil here. And see what our opponent wants to do about this. We have a Bowmaster as well that can come down. A Fatal Push. Sure. So I did keep the Fatal Push. That's fine. Just paving the way for our Bowmasters and our Barrowgoyf. I really like the Monoblack Aggro matchup into these sorts of decks. Okay, so our opponents used all their last remaining resources to keep that Bowmaster off the board. And now we just get to stick an unchallenged Barrowgoyf. Or we can stick another Bowmasters. Play it now when we're playing it around days. And then we can untap with Bowmasters and Fatal Push. Our opponent probably has a second Surveil Land because they're the Reanimator build. Okay, they're not going for it. Have they already milled it over before or got rid of it? No. Maybe they only have the 1 Surveil Land. It's interesting. They have a Barrowgoyf. Okay. I will play this Castle Locthwain. This is going to be a great turn for us. I'm going to Wasteland this. Then I'm going to Fatal Push this Barrowgoyf away. Then I'm going to Orcish Bowmasters away their Orcish Bowmaster. And then they can choose to lose their last remaining non-land permanent or let us draw an extra card. Alright, they're choosing to throw everything under the bus. Excellent. So now they're living off the top. Like, reanimates and stuff are fine for our opponent. Because they can reanimate, like, their Barrowgoyf. Because we're not exiling stuff. If I could draw a Yep, so here is the exact play I discussed. If we could draw a Nihil Spellbomb, that'd be great. A Dark Ritual. What do we do here? I can use this Dark Ritual to draw a card with Castle Locthwain. That seems fine. A Sheoldred's Edict, you say? Okay, I guess we hold here. Would I like to trade now with this Orc Army token? They're just not going to block, are they? I guess we just pass it over. If we just stare at each other for a little bit longer, I can just fire in the Sheoldred's Edict. If they attack us, we can block with the Orc Army. And then we can fatal push this. I do gain 4 here. Reanimate, targeting a Barrowgoyf. Okay. So that is their last card in hand. So one of our opponents left the battlefield, so goodbye Barrowgoyf. You can sacrifice a non-token creature here. And I can crack you for 5 and maybe find a 1-drop. I'll take this Nethergoyf here. And I'll play a massive 5/6. Alright, opponent. Reanimating a Barrowgoyf doesn't seem great for you right now. Alright, we got the game and the match. So like I was saying earlier, I really like the mono-black decks like this into the blue-black decks because we have a lot of similar cards. However, the Bowmasters on our side is a lot more one-sided because we get to shut off all their draw spells or make them really bad, whereas we don't have that same thing that we suffer. And, you know, sometimes just hitting people into the dirt. It's a really good way of trading 2 for 1 and ruining your opponent's resource management. On to round 2. Yeah, we got curve here. I'll keep it. Let's get Cecil in first. That way, if it dies to something, it makes our Nethergoyf bigger, but this is just the biggest thing that we can slam down immediately. No hand disruption, though. So if our opponent's just a combo deck, then we don't have a great hand for that. But we can mess with like the One Ring by having the Orcish Bowmasters ping a bunch. So I like our spot still. I'm happy with the keep, even if it doesn't work out. Like some of the other combo decks that exist, things like Breakfast, we can then ping down their little guy, and that's fine too. Urza's Tower. Understood, opponent. So we're doing Cloud Posty, Mystic Forge, Khan type stuff. I'm going to do this now. Just get a swamp so we don't have any weird timings. I don't think that's going to matter timing-wise, but we're getting a swamp anyway. We may as well just do it. We're not trying to trigger Revolt with our hand right now. Once Upon a Time. Okay, this is probably more like Cloud Post. So we're not just going to be instantly dead to a One Ring. They're going to try and leverage the One Ring over a few turns. An Elvish Spirit Guide. Planar Nexus. The One Ring. Okay, I'm going to ping them for 1 in response to the One Ring. So they have protection. I draw a card. We ping our own guy, and the ping and the growing, it happens at the same time, so our creature lives, because we can't ping them. Alrighty. Are we jamming more threats into play? Certainly looks that way, doesn't it? This won't deal any combo damage because of the One Ring. So I will also play out... If I play out the Bowmasters in their upkeep, does that make more sense? We miss on the 1 ping. No, I think that's fine. We don't want our opponent to calculate how much this One Ring is going to hurt them. A Cloud Post? Yep. Here comes the Bow Boys. Are they going to attack their One Ring in response? We still get to ping them with our existing Bowmaster, and they don't get to leverage the cards right now. They could have something like a Kozilek's Command, so they could fire off a command, kill our Bowmasters, then draw with a One Ring. That's reasonable, but our Orc Army is still going to be big. Yep, there's a K command, so now they get a little shot to draw 2 cards here. And then we get our Bowmaster in. Ping our opponent for 1, and then our opponent has to go to discard here because we've done this in end step. So they really only got 1 card off the One Ring, but drawing a card and then also looting a card is still fine. Soul Guide Lantern. Yeah, that's not really the one you want there, is it, opponent? Okay, let's go to attacks. I will send in the clouds. I think we made a slight mistake here. We could have gone to get our Surveil land and then use that to see if we can pump the Nethergoyf slightly. You might have been able to make it crack for 1 more damage. Dark Knight. Yeah, so he would have had the additional 1 damage. Yeah. Hopefully not going to come back to bite us, but it might do. Alright, let's just hope our opponent doesn't run all his dust. We just need to get this game won before our opponent's One Ring wins the game for them. I'm expecting something like Ugin instead, but if we have lots of creatures, Ugin's unlikely to be able to kill them all. Karn's Silex. That can kill a lot of things, can't it? Can we kill our opponent right now? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We have lethal in play, so they've got to have something over there. Well, Thoughtseize first. Crop rotation. Are they going to get a Glacial Chasm? Is that a thing they have? Could just be a Glimmer Post to gain a little bit of life. It is a Glimmer Post. It gains 4 life. That's not nothing. And then they're also going to tap for a bunch of mana here and Kozilek's Command for a huge bunch. I think we're just a little bit too slow to get over the final line here. I'm going to take out our Bowmasters. Make a bunch of little guys. I'll take your crop rotation. I'll go to attacks. So they're probably just going to chump block and then can't Silex everything away. Still got more action over there. They could have let us take 2 damage from this because it flips and it still dies with their Silex. This has to be activated as a sorcery. He's getting Ulamogged or something. Here's an Ulamog. Okay. Goodbye, Undercity Sewers. And now they just sweep out the rest. Yeah, you got that one, opponent. You got that one. I think they're going to kill us before the One Ring matters. Close, but not quite able to get there. I would like a Null Rod. We do not need any Nihil Spellbombs here. I do still like the Dauthi Voidwalker because we can just take out something big from their hand and just reanimate it, and then they have a really horrible time. So we get rid of these. We get a Null Rod. The Opposition Agent looks very good here. So there's a few other options available to us. Where's the Fatal Pushes? The Fatal Pushes aren't the best here. The Orcish Bowmasters is still good though. So we have some options which involve things like Sheoldred's Edict in case they get any big things, and then a Plague Engineer on Eldrazi so they never get any spawn tokens. I think that looks quite neat. Creatures entering don't cause abilities to trigger, but the things that they're triggering are cast triggers, so this doesn't work. We could board in Powder Keg in case our opponent's playing like Karn and we need to blow up a Ensnaring Bridge. I just don't think that's the way around this one. How useful is this one-off Powder Keg going to be when our opponent's trying to just jump out massive things? I don't know if they're running Karn. I'm not going to expect them to be running it. Alright, hand disruption is the aim of the game here. Disrupt their hand, make a giant creature, beat them down with giant creature. That's what we came here to do. I would like an untapped source at some point so that we can just curve nicely 1, 2, 3, but we'll see. We could just go Thoughtseize into Barrowgoyf. We're definitely Thoughtseizing on 1. Just get a lay of the land before anything happens. Once upon a time. You got it. A Cloud Post. Well, we can't take that. Crop rotation. 2 Solgar Lanterns that do nothing really. Like they can shrink our Barrowgoyf, but that's not really that big a deal. The crop rotation and the Kozilek's Command are both kind of annoying here. Let me just take one of the Kozilek's commands. There's Cloud Post. What about Dark Ritual? I like a Dark Ritual, not a Dark Ritual. So we can take the exact card we want, or we could just hymn them. I think I'm just going to hymn them because we may be able to disrupt their mana base here. Or we take a Planar Nexus and a Kozilek's Command. Okay, well, those are the 2 cards I most wanted to take from my opponent, so cool. I'll take that. But if we give our opponent enough time, they will assemble enough lands to kill us. Found another Planar Nexus anyway. I'm going to play some Solgar Lanterns and cycle them. Just give us a new look at their hand that we can then Thoughtseize from. There is one of the Solgar Lanterns. So this can shrink our Goyf a little bit, but that's all it does. We've still got another sorcery in there. Plague Engineer. I'm going to play this Undercity Sewers first. And then when they cycle this Solgar Lantern, I'm just going to Bowmasters them. Oh, we didn't cycle it. I guess we are telegraphing our Bowmasters quite a lot. So they can crop rotate this for lots of mana if that's what they want. So they can go and get the Urza's Tower. Khan the Great Creator. Okay, so they are on a Khan build. What are they going to get here? It's going to be Ensnaring Bridge, isn't it? Oh, they got the One Ring. Okay, I can live with that. Alright, let's Bowmasters them. We get to kill the Khan, and then we get to Thoughtseize them. We'd love to draw a land here, which is why we binned off the Thoughtseize of our Surveil land. Didn't quite get there. Okay, I'm going to play a Dauthi Voidwalker first, so that whatever we take goes into the void. Also, this Khan goes into the void. Which means we could get the Khan and shut down their One Ring if we wished. And let's Thoughtseize them. We know the 3 cards in their hand. We're just going to take the one that matters here. Alright, I think we're in a very solid position. If we want the One Ring, we can get the One Ring, or we can just keep beating our opponent down. I don't want to see a Khan Silex. But if they play a Khan Silex, we play a Khan, and that shuts it down. Because there is a Khan in the void over here. I'll pop this out so we don't forget. A Soul Guide Lantern. You got it. With different art. Do you want to draw some cards here? Because that comes at quite the cost. A Dauthi Voidwalker, you say? If we get a Khan, it answers our opponent's One Rings. But if we get our own One Ring, we can just draw lots of cards and have a nice time. The Khan can get our own Powder Keg, which is kind of interesting. I think we're just going to swing with the team and then see what happens. I assume they're crop rotating now. Would I rather have another Dauthi Voidwalker or this Barrowgoyf? I think it's probably just Barrowgoyf, isn't it? It's hard to pass up on the Barrowgoyf. So they can Soul Guide Lantern, but then I guess they Soul Guide Lantern themselves and they Soul Guide Lantern us. But then when we sacrifice a Dauthi Voidwalker and get the One Ring, that's fine. And we also get to Bowmaster ping them while they're doing this. That seems alright. Okay, so they're just drawing cards instead of trying to mess with our graveyards. That's understandable. Okay, they got Veil of Summer, so only one of the Bowmaster triggers counts. Now we're going to see the crop rotation. Sure. And they're going to go over the top of us. She's got 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 damage showing. Our opponent's on 17. We can go and get Wasteland by sacrificing Dauthi Voidwalker. That is a Khan. I'm going to go get a Silex or an Ensnaring Bridge. It's an Ensnaring Bridge. Alright, we're Powder Kegging. Yep. Okay, we're going to get into a bit of a grindy stall here. More crop rotationing. Okay, so they're not going to have any cards in hand. That's why they're doing this now. Makes sense. Right, they're going to sit behind their Eye of Ugin, are they? I'm going to cast a Khan. Then we're going to minus the Khan. Get the Powder Keg here. I think we deploy a Dauthi Voidwalker just to keep their graveyard in check. That way, anything big that happens, we can get it under our Dauthi. So what we need to do here is find a piece of removal, and then we can turn this into a creature and blow it up, and then we can kill the Khan. The Powder Keg will still tick up. We just can't pop it until the Khan is gone. So we have some options here. Sheoldred's Edict killing the Khan works for us. And they're getting another card from outside the game. What is this going to be? How much mana they got here? 3, 6. They could just play a Lattice. Yeah. We don't beat that, do we? Yeah, that is the game. Unless... The only way... So the way we win this one is kind of awkward. We need our opponent to not be able to cast the spells from their hand with 6 mana here. So we need them to draw like consecutive Eldrazi's. Oh, wow. Okay, so what they've done here is they have 1 card in hand, so our Orcish Bowmaster kills the Khan, so it makes this Lattice not do anything. Alright. Wowzers, trousers. I was surprised our opponent conceded there. Alright, I'll take it though. Let's just go back in. Same again. I don't think we want Fatal Pushes just for that line that we had just there. We're just going to be attacking our opponent. Thoughtseize into threats. We have a Null Rod, which is obviously a very potent card in the matchup. Shutting down that One Ring is big news. Shutting down the card Silex means we can overextend. So do we... I think we just have to Thoughtseize, right? Because our opponent can make really scary stuff on turn 2. We just need to shut that down while we can. Oh, okay. Now we have the dream here. So this is Dark Ritual into Dauthi Voidwalker into Thoughtseize. Maybe you fit like an Emrakul and we just win the game. The One Ring, Ugin, Eye of Storms, Karn, Silex. We take the Ugin, we get an Ugin Planeswalker. That feels okay. We don't have that many colourless spells I'm that interested in. I will take the Ugin here. Now we already have an answer to their One Ring and their Karn Silex. Oh wow, we just had enough because they know we're about to play the Ugin. What does Ugin actually get us? We don't have that many colourless spells in our deck. We just have the Null Rod and that's it. But sure, big Planeswalker is enough. Okay, on to round 3. For the best Eternal experience this summer, check out Eternal Mania in Hasselt, Belgium from August 8th to 10th. Aside from hosting the European Legacy Masters, they have a whole host of other tournaments from team trios to old school and pre-modern. I will be there playing Legacy and hanging out as a special guest. This will also be the first event that I'll be giving out my own special Marit Lage tokens, so why not come down to enjoy an awesome weekend ran by one of the best TOs in Europe. Thoughtseize into him. Am I ever going to pass up a hand that looks like that? It appeals to me on every level. Do love hemming my opponents. If we get hit by like a turn 1 Blood Moon, that could be a little bit awkward for us. But I will still take it. It is the downside of having the fetch lands. A Gemstone Mine. Alright, our opponent is doing something unfair. That is a Lion's Eye Diamond. Are we looking at Madness? Are we looking at Dredge? Who knows? So our hand disruption might not be very useful. I don't think I actually want to fully him my opponent. I think I just want to Thoughtseize here. Because they're probably going to have some stuff we just don't want to take. We just don't want our opponent to discard because it helps them out. A Veil of Summer. Very glad I didn't go all in on that hymn to Tourach now. So what have they got going on that they have Gemstone Mine and Lion's Eye Diamond and really don't want to be discarded to the point that they're keeping Veil of Summers in their decks? Very interesting. We'd like to draw a 2-drop. Ideally a Bowmasters because it looks like our opponent might be doing some Echo of Eon stuff perhaps. Gemstone Mine is a little bit odd. It could just be like a Saga Storm deck where they're just running multicolour stuff. Dark Ritual. Beseech the Mirror. Thoughtseizing me. How rude. That's my job. Goodbye, Dark Ritual. So leaving us with this hymn. This is going to be a Beseech, sacrificing the as a Saga because it's an enchantment, so it sacrifices the Beseech the Mirror. Oh no, they can't Beseech the Mirror. They need black, 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 don't they? A Burning Wish, cracking this Lion's Eye Diamond. Now this is probably for Beseech into the Gaia's Will line. Yeah, so they play this. The Gaia's Will, they get to replay these. And I assume that is lethal. We'll let our opponent play out. We're certainly not going to go to time in this round. So there's 6, so they go 7, 8, 9. Beseech the Mirror, sacrificing the Lion's Eye Diamond, and then they just tendrils us to the face. You got it, opponent. So, I would like access to some of these Leyline of the Voids, I think. The Opposition Agent is a fine disruptive threat. It's not the most impressive thing, but we'll see how much gets boarded out and then we can work on it. The Nihil Spellbomb is fine here. I don't hate the Powder Keg. The Null Rod, very good. I guess we don't want Null Rod and Powder Keg. So we take these out and rely on Dauthi and Leyline as our graveyard hate. And then we need to make one more cut. Is it one of our legendary creatures that we might not be able to deploy? Probably. We could board in something like a Plague Engineer in case they go for Empty the Warrens plan. But I think we're better off just shutting them off before they get there. Being on the play so we can Thoughtseize and stuff before Veil of Summer happens is really good. Alternatively, we could mulligan this many Leyline hand. Okay, Leyline plus Null Rod is pretty strong. Let's get rid of a land. So we'll begin with a Leyline, and then we'll jam the Null Rod on turn 2. We might get Thoughtseize, so we'll have a different 2-drop available, but that's also fine. We get a Surveil land as well in the meantime. Our opponent's at 6, and they're thinking about it. Right, so this goes and gets us our Undercity Sewers. Our opponent can't do the easy guy's will line, which means that they have to work a little bit harder for it. They can still kill us on turn 1, but generally speaking, the Storm decks tend to need a couple of turns to sort of set things up. They need to make sure that they're not just dying to like one piece of disruption. Okay, let's get our Undercity Sewers. Thoughtseize is very good. It's not as good as Null Rod, I'll tell you that much though. I think our opponent is going to be unhappy to see the Null Rod on our side of the board. Right, no Lotus Petal, no Vault of Whispers. So we've already taken 2 permanents out of action with that. We'll crack this. So I think we go for Dauthi Voidwalker into Thoughtseize. Bunch of stuff. What are we looking at here? So we've shut off the Gambles, we've shut off the Echo of Eons. So it's Beseech the Mirrors, probably the easiest line out of here into something else. I'll take the Beseech. We can also Beseech ourselves. I don't think that's a thing we necessarily want to do though. We can cast it with the Dauthi Voidwalker, bargain away our Leyline into something else. Doesn't seem like a great use of our resources though. Alright, they've had enough. I don't blame them. We just did nothing but hateful permanents and hand disruption. I think we just dive back in again. We don't have any mana, so this has to be mulligan. Same problem. I love this hand if it just had some lands though. Where are all our black sources? What's happening? What is going on here? Okay. Mulligan to 2 cards or keep 3. I guess we keep. So we'll get rid of 3-drop. Wasteland. We're going to keep the Leyline. Do we just keep the guy that threatens our opponent's life total? Or do we keep like the Dark Ritual so we can power something else out if we draw it? Right, we're going to keep the threat. Maybe we're not supposed to keep the Leyline. The Leyline stops them from killing us on turn 1 easily. Now the guy's will line is definitely the easiest way that our opponent can kill us. Like, it's not great against them, but it's also not terrible. It's kind of middling and buys us turns, which is something. It's begun with a Lotus Petal into Chrome Mox. They go in this turn, or they're just playing stuff out to avoid having it discarded. Nothing imprinted on the Chrome Mox, so we could be looking at Dark Rituals into Beseech the Mirror here. Yep, so they can go and get the, what's it called? Song of Creation, which is an enchantment that lets you, it makes you draw 2 cards whenever you cast a spell, but you discard your hand at the end of the turn. So you basically just rattle through your deck. I suspect that's what's going to happen here. Oh no, we're just going for an empty line. Okay, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12. Cecil, you are a bit awkward here. But it does give us a lifelink threat, so maybe. So this turn, we take 11, 12, 13, and then we flip. And then we end up with a 4-4 lifelinker. No idea how this pans out for us. Excited to find out. Also, I've never seen these goblin tokens. They look more like zombies to me. Alright, they're going to turn them sideways. We take 13. Next turn, we take 12, but gain 4. So we take 8. That is lethal. But if we can Dark Ritual out Barrowgoyf or play another threat, maybe we can do something here. Send in the clowns, yep. So we go, take 2 damage. We have a 4-4 lifelink. It doesn't have Vigilance, so we can't get that extra hit for 4 in. So we're effectively on 11, and they have 11 creatures coming in. So we're not dead, right? A Wasteland. I think we hold that so we can get a Barrowgoyf in if we draw a land. So they attack us for 11. So we take 10, but we gain 4. So we take 6 and go to 1. Alright, it's something. This Barrowgoyf not having a power is a little bit awkward. An Orcish Bowmasters would obviously be a very good draw for us. We get to take out 3 of their goblins. Haven't done the exact math on if that saves us though. We don't have a lot of agency here. We're just blocking. Going to 1. Carrying on with life. Opposition, that doesn't do anything here. So attack us for 10. So we take 9 damage and gain 4. And then we die. Sure. If we had mull to, let's say, 5 instead of 3, I think we win this game. But that was not the case. So 3 rounds in, the only time we've lost is when we had to mull to 3. Not so bad. Let's go to round number 4. Right, we're up against Stryfo, who usually plays the Stryfo Pile deck, which is a deck of their own creation. It's a non-white control deck, so it's 4-color control, non-white. I don't know if they are still playing that. I haven't played against them for a little while, but we'll find out. Okay, this hand is fine. We can make a 2-3 Barrowgoyf on turn 1 and just start drawing cards off of it. Or if we draw an Underground Mortuary. Yeah, that would track still with like a Stryfo Pile. They have like Light and Loam and stuff in. So I think we're just going to play out the highest upside here. Which is just Dark Ritual into Barrowgoyf. So if we can start connecting with this, maybe we can find some Bowmasters and other stuff that our opponent doesn't want to see. Underground Sea, White of the Reliquary. Okay, not really 100% sure what our opponent's doing, but it's all good. I think I'll play out a Dauthi Voidwalker before I attack. Just in case they want to block, we can exile this. I'll take another Nethergoyf, please. Our opponent is on something a bit different to what I was expecting. Because this White of the Reliquary suggests that they want a bunch of creatures. Wasteland. It's lovely playing a deck that doesn't care about Wasteland, I'll tell you that much. Do enjoy making sure my land drops and just knowing they're going to work. Stitches Supply. Are we on Hogak? Oh, we are. Cool. So we can get 8-8 with our Dauthi Voidwalker if we want to. We can't block here, so yeah. Are we wastelanding or are we just playing more and more and more pressure? Don't think we want these things just yet. We could have a daze, so we should probably play the wasteland or the swamp before we play our Dauthi Voidwalker. Am I playing a Nethergoyf? I think I am playing the Nethergoyf here. Let's get this Dauthi in. Let's get this Nethergoyf in pre-combat. If they have something that interacts with it and puts it to the graveyard, that's fine. Send in the clowns. Orcish Bowmaster, sure. They're going to put a load of stuff under the bus, or they're going to just cycle it away into something else. Our opponent's deck looks incredibly sweet. Yep, so they're going to cycle it away. We still connect for 3 here. That's why wastelanding wasn't really very appealing, because they have loads of creatures, or they have, chances are they have more creatures, but they already had the supply which could just turn into something else. I don't think I want to get a Hogak in, because they might just be able to shoot up a... Okay, I've got another white. So they might be able to shoot up a Caracas. They might have that as a one-off. They can then bounce the Caracas back to their hand. Just better just to keep bashing with our Dauthis. I think we're just going to be holding back the Goyfs and... Ooh, I'll him to Tourach my opponent. So they have Diamond Weapon. This spell costs 1 less cast for each permanent card in your graveyard. Prevent all combat damage to be dealt to it. That's cool. That's why our opponent's playing it. Alright, I am 100% going to ask my opponent for their deck list at the end, because this is sweet. I think we're just going to keep crashing with the Dauthis. Yes, the main deck Dauthi Voidwalker is doing a lot of work here. Alright, I've had enough of that. Let's go to the sideboard. So our opponent is a pretty graveyard-focused deck here. So, Opposition Agent is going to stop a bunch of their things. Plague Engineer might be useful here. The Leylines will be useful. Removal spells also useful. Powder Keg. I don't know if they're doing like graveyardy Bridge from Below style stuff, but it's possible. So we'll consider that. Nihil Spellbomb obviously seems pretty good here. I don't think we want the Thoughtseizes. They can come out. So we also don't want the hymns. Probably not. Just deal with the stuff on the board. Seems like a plan. Maybe we can trim 1 Cecil because it is legendary. And maybe the Wastelands are fine. I don't think I want to trim one of those. We have a lot of graveyard hate. Is this too much graveyard hate? Can we trim like a Spellbomb? Spellbomb does power up our own Barrowgoyfs and Nethergoyfs though. I think we still want the rituals. We definitely want the fatal pushes. I'm going to swap a Barrowgoyf for an opposition agent. Is that a wild thing to do? Could be. What is this Plague Engineer naming? Let's try without the Plague Engineer and then see what happens. Our opponent said they are willing to share the deck list with us. 2 Nihil Spellbombs is okay. Like, this is fine. I'm not in love with it, but I think it's fine. Here comes the Spellbomb. We do have all these stinky Leyline in the Voids to draw in our deck, though. I'll deploy this Nihil Spellbomb. So we can cycle one or we can get a Surveil land. And Orcish Bowmasters. Oh, the Force of Vigor there is pretty good. I'm okay for these to be in my graveyard. What do they pitch to this? A Hogak, sure. We don't get to draw a card here. I guess we're getting a Surveil land. Bowmasters pretty good against Bowmasters. Have they just boarded out of a lot of graveyard stuff? A Barrowgoyf. Sure. We have an answer for that in hand, but we're going to have to take our lumps for a turn or two. So we probably play Bowmasters, ping. It's hard to know which to ping, actually, because putting the Bowmaster in the graveyard gives them an additional point of life off of the Barrowgoyf. And it also gives them material. I don't really want them to have material to, like, delve away. I think we just absorb that. And then we have Fell the Profane for next turn. Okay, another big boy. I guess we're killing one, chumping one, and then we can play our own Barrowgoyf next turn. I'd rather not chump first. I'd like to at least have a shot at being able to deal with it. So if we can deal with this with another thing, we get to play our Barrowgoyf and actually have a Barrowgoyf remain in play instead of just being a trade piece. Ooh, they do have forces in their deck. Oh no, they're dismembering our guy. That's also terrible news. Alright, they found a way to make Barrowgoyf even better than it already is by putting it in a Hogak deck. Pretty cool. We're getting... There is a Hogak over there. At least they burn a Dismember on something that's not the most important. They got a Barrowgoyf back. Oh dear, oh dear. Our Bowmasters, so we can tread water again and then try a similar line. I think that's probably the best bet here. There's an argument to do it in the upkeep, so that it would be harder for them to get a Hogak into play. I'll ping down the Bowmasters. And I'll chump block. It's another Barrowgoyf. 3 Barrowgoyfs is a lot of Barrowgoyfs. I guess we're forced into trading off Barrowgoyfs. We're going to leave this fetch hand around so that we can fatal push if we find the right thing. So if we find the fatal push, we can then crack this, find a swamp, fatal push their guy. Alright. Trade off the Barrowgoyfs. Diamond Weapon. Sure. So this is an 8/8 reach but no trample. Okay. No combat damage will be dealt to it, but we can still do other bits and pieces. Okay. We've got a Bowmasters. We get to chump for a turn on the Barrowgoyf. They have so much life over there, don't they? Has reach but not flying. I think we just take it. A White of the Reliquary. Sure. I think I'm going to fetch and play the opposition agent just to be mana efficient. We can block, and if our creatures die, then we get to fatal push them anyway. I'm not expecting Sejiri Step, but Talongates of Madara might exist over there. Dauthi Voidwalker, you are a little bit on the late side. That's a 7/7 white as well. So we need to block all 3 creatures. We can block all 3 creatures, but then we die, I believe. Barrowgoyf hitting here still doesn't do anything for us. I think we're just dead. Alright, on to game number 3. Do you just want more creature removal? We could play this 1 Feed the Swarm. We could play Plague Engineer on Orc. It's also got Death Touch. I think that's a little bit better. Let's try that. Nope, we need to mulligan to find a land. Okay, I can work with this. What goes back here? Is it Bowmasters? Bowmasters can block multiple bodies. I think it's the Bowmasters though. Just double up on Graveyard Hate because it seems so important in this matchup. And these are Graveyard Hate pieces that don't step on each other's toes. It's not like Force of Vigor is going to take them both out. Right, so we get our 1/2. Underground Mortuary. Left on top. We will leave the Polluted Delta in our hand so we can crack up for Fatal Push later on to kill Barrowgoyfs. Just a little bit of damage here. Right, that's a creature that we can shoot down. I'm more scared of green or blue mana. I think it's green. That's how they cast like the diamond weapon stuff and Hogak. Although we're obviously shutting those off with our ley lines and things. I'm just trying to think like that lets them play things like the white of the reliquary. Obviously didn't really matter. They had the tropical island, so whichever one we hit, it wasn't going to make any difference to their mana this turn. Nothing goes under the Dauthi Voidwalker while the Leyline is around. They can Orcish Bowmaster and put everything in front of the Nethergoyf to kill it, but I'm okay with that trade. Dismember, sure. Get Cecil, play this out. Whale of the Forgotten. They're bouncing our permanent, sure. The Graveyard is unlocked for your opponents. What are you going to do? Stitches Supplier. It's pretty good. Force of Vigor. Hedron Crab. Oh, I love Hedron Crab. Who doesn't love a Hedron Crab? They can also block with a Stitches Supplier and get some stuff going with it as well. Let's just send the Leyline again. Send in the clowns. Is it worth a chump to you? Cecil, you hurt us as well, but you don't flip. Crack for 1. Or are you blocking? They are blocking. Makes sense. Bowmasters, who are you getting rid of? Probably the Cecil. They can kill the Cecil. They can kill the Nethergoyf, and we can't bring it back just yet. They're going after the Cecil. Or Cecil for Americans out there, I suppose. Alright, so they're going to trade out one of our objects and deal us 2 damage. Ooh, they're going to get to keep a load of stuff in their graveyard as well. Diamond Weapon has entered the exile zone. So we still take damage from our guy. They've got a Hogak, so they might be able to deploy a Hogak here. I think we're supposed to Wasteland them off of green, actually. Whale of the Forgotten, sure. I need to discard a card. Discard as Wasteland. Glad we kept that back, I guess. And I'm going to Cabal Therapy away my Nethergoyf. My Nethergoyf. We can bring back the Nethergoyf because we have enough types. It's just not going to be very large. I'd prefer to just have some kind of enormous, massive monster instead that I just draw off the top. Like this. Diamond Weapon. Prevent all combat damage that be dealt. I am regretting not wastelanding before. Leyline the Void. I think we just escape this, don't we? Let's get rid of land, instant, creature, enchantment. No point attacking because it says prevent all combat damage to be dealt to it. So the Barrowgoyf's not going to do any damage to it. We need to put 1 more type in our graveyard. A Bowmasters. That's just going to our dome, I assume. And a Hogak. Alright, I think this has just about slipped away from us. So they can still do this and get the Hogak if we didn't Wasteland them off of the green. It's just they have the diamond weapon on top of it, which is a lot. Many 8/8s. Okay, what do we have here? A creature. If we attack with both of them, they can just keep redeploying the Hogak. I guess we pass. And maybe try and catch them out with the Bowmasters. They haven't really shown us any card draw. Not sending in the Trampler. Let's pop off that. Bowmasters. And we have a little chump blocker. 3 attackers. Let's get this down. Going to 2. Getting the hedge maze down before the ley line stops it. So, if we attack with a Barrowgoyf, they have to tap these 2 to put this in unless they draw a creature. Let's land out. If we attack with both of these, they have to block them both. So they could just chomp here and eat this and then have a lethal crack back. But we gain some life to do that, don't we? But if they have a creature to reanimate their Hogak, that's going to be really bad for us. Actually, no, they can't reanimate the Hogak because we have a Leyline, right? And they're not going to reanimate the Hogak. So that's 16 damage coming. We get up to 16 life, have 1 chump blocker. That seems a little sketchy. I'm going to attack with just the Barrowgoyf, I think. We bank 3 life here. We take some material off the board. Like, we're not chump blocking their Trampler anyway. It's very weird to me that Trample is the last line of text on this card. Oh, that's real bad for us. So there goes the Bowmasters. They get another body. So they can attack for 16 here. What is this card? Draw 3 cards, then discard 2 cards unless you discard a creature card. Oh, so it's like Thirst for Knowledge, but different. Cool. Harmonize. What's Harmonize? You may cast a card from your graveyard for its Harmonized cost. You may tap a creature you control to reduce that cost by X. Cool. Not sure why I've not seen this card before. Pretty neat. Feels like a good card for cube, actually. Alright, what are we doing here? We're getting attacked. This means we're blocking. Otherwise we die. What do we want in our graveyard? Creature, land, and that's it. Okay, so Plague Engineer on Orc wins us the game. Didn't draw Plague Engineer on Orc. If we hold this back to block, we can block into the Hogak. But then we take 8 damage, plus these 2, plus the Trample. Yeah, our opponent's got us. Alright, on to the final round. We're currently 2-2, but the 2 ones we lost were very close still. On the play for the final round, we don't have a lot going on. I think we can do better than this. Yeah, I'd describe that as better. So probably chuck back 1 land. We'll probably find another land at some point, and we've still got stuff to do, and if we don't, we can afford to miss a land 1 turn and still make good plays every turn. So go get our swamp, take a little peek at our opponent's hand, see what they're working with. Hopefully take away that 1 key piece that they've been looking for. The thing they kept their whole hand on the basis of, just collapse everything. It'd be nice. Kind of. We can just take out this Channeler. That slows our opponent's roll a fair bit. What about Murktide Regent? How are we dealing with the Murktide Regent? Barrowgoyf. Okay, I'll take the Channeler. That just slows our opponent's roll in a big way. So they might just play out for this round. They probably actually preordain here, right? I doubt they're going to give us a window to Bowmasters them. If they don't crack the fetch, then we can just... Okay, so targeting us with the bauble instead of using it to cycle on their own stuff. I'll play this out and I'll pass. A very telegraphed Bowmasters here. So we can get this Bowmasters in a round of days now. That shuts off that preordain our opponent's sat on. And hopefully we can draw a land and just start playing Dauthi Voidwalkers a round of days. Thundering Falls. I think we should be pretty good in this matchup. I would normally like to have a little bit more removal than we have in our list. Between the 75. Like a bit more like high-end removal for Murktide. But in theory, Murktide might struggle to come in because of Dauthi. But we'll see. Alright, a Lightning Bolt. Sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they are getting ready to Murktide us. Okay, I'm going to play a Dauthi Voidwalker into a Daze. I'm happy for them to Daze this. It sets them way back. Let's get this Undercity Sewers in. Don't think I need another Dauthi Voidwalker here, do I? So we need to get around this Daze in our opponent's hand so our Barrowgoyf can start connecting. Now our opponent might not have another island yet. So it might not be able to play the Murktide. And the Murktide's not going to be massive. It's only going to be 5. That's still pretty large. I've got Preordain here. So no Murktide this turn. They put both on the bottom. Right, they're wastelanding our land. It is unfortunate that we drew the one wastelandable land that we have. Now they have the island for the Murktide next turn. Unless we want to wasteland them. I don't think I want to wasteland them. I will Dauthi Voidwalker. They can Daze this, but then it makes room for our Barrowgoyf so we can find the third land. They should Daze this. And they should use it with their... Oh, they've done it with their tap land. That is not what I was expecting. Just keep attacking here. Brainstorm. If we get our opponent low enough, then the Murktide won't even matter because the Dauthi can kill them. It's going to be about whether or not they find the bolt in that situation. Hopefully they don't find the bolt. I've got a Bauble here. Baubling us. I don't think we're at the situation where we want to crack our Dauthi Voidwalker just yet. But if we draw a land, we can play a Barrowgoyf and hold up the Dauthi Voidwalker, so we do it before we go to attacks. And that way, if they try and interact with us, we can then grab this Daze that they have. Have we got another Daze? Have we got Force of Will? What is the scores on the doors here? They have a Daze that we're not paying for, unfortunately. We have another Barrowgoyf, so we're just going to keep sending here. So this puts our opponent to 8. So for a 2-turn clock, it becomes a 3-turn clock as soon as they put any blocker in play. If they take out our Dauthi Voidwalker, then we're going to be slogging away for ages here. A Ponder. Not a Murktide. Seem very reluctant to have put this Murktide into play. Obviously we don't know what's in our opponent's hand, but they definitely had an opportunity to do it earlier. And another Ponder. So we can get to put our opponent to 4 here. And we get to smash him with another Barrowgoyf. Play the land so that we can play around a Daze if it becomes relevant. I should just do this now so we can wasteland as well. Can I have a big friend? We can have a big friend. Tell the creatures. Take one of my opponent's lands. I think our opponent is done here. They could play a Murktide, but our Barrowgoyf can fight into it and live, and they have to chop block the Barrowgoyf and still die to our other things. Yep, I thought as much, opponent. So what do we want in a matchup like this? Let's have a look. Sheoldred's Edict is the obvious one. Feed the Swarm is okay. Powder Keg taking out all their 1-drops is fine too. So we've got options of stuff that I don't mind. The Plague Engineer and the Feed the Swarm are okay. I don't really want to pay life with the Feed the Swarm though. So what are we looking at here? How much do I like Nihil Spellbombs? They cantrip. They mess our opponent's graveyard up a lot. I think I'm going to take out the Thoughtseizes and just play this game on the board. So we just don't really have like bad top decks. That seems fine to me. I'm not going to try the Opposition Agent cheese here. Yes, our opponent's a fetch hand deck, but I just don't think that's a viable way to play against decks like this. You bring an Opposition Agent against decks that rely on searching their library with other cards. So your Crop Rotation, Green Sun Zenith, Doomsday style decks. That's where you want the Opposition Agent. Opposition Agent when they opponent casts a Doomsday is one of the funniest things you can do because you get to control them and build their pile, their Doomsday pile with nothing. Okay, this is fine. I think we can probably just begin with a Spellbomb because if they want to fight over a Spellbomb with a Daze, that's actually fine. And it just gives us something useful in play. We're probably going to have to let them keep whatever creature they play on 1. Hopefully they don't play anything on 1. Because I don't want to just have to try and remove it and then have a daze going. Do I want to shoot this and lose to a daze? The problem is, if we don't, then we're in a lot of trouble if this flips. Oh, I hate this so much. Alright, fine, we're going to fail push this and get hit by a daze. It's a long pause. If it's a force, then I'm okay trading this for a force. It is the daze. Okay. But that means that we can curve into Dauthi Voidwalker next turn. Because we've already tested the waters for the dazes. And this is something that can pressure Tamiyo relatively well because it's got pretty good power on it. A bauble. So they can fire this off in our turn and get ready to flip this. It's a bit like the Delver trick. Okay, 3 cards in our opponent's hand. The Dauthi Voidwalker at least shuts off part of Tamiyo. Sure, you take a look, opponent. I'm not expecting a stifle here. And there wasn't one. Am I going to play this out into a... I think we're just going to play out the Spellbomb, actually. And then the Nethergoyf. Because then if they try and bolt, we already have the Spellbomb in play and can save our Goyf with it. If they've got another daze, that's a bit unfortunate, but then this is a card that does come back on its own later on anyway. Right, we're in. Need to keep an eye on the amount of cards in their graveyard for the purposes of Murktide Regent, because we don't really have a clean answer to that just yet. This will be the 4th card in graveyard when they crack this. So we're kind of looking to fire off a Spellbomb soon. Because sacrificing is part of the cost, they don't get to respond and bolt our creature. So that's quite nice. Let's deploy this. If they counter it before we go to attack, so our creature gets bigger. Am I looking at getting 1 additional point of damage here, or am I looking to catch this fetch land in the end step? I think I'm looking to catch the fetch land in the end step. Just reduce the total amount of stuff they have in their graveyard. A lightning bolt on the Dauthi Voidwalker. Get your Thundering Falls? No. So I have 3 cards here. This will be the 4th. 3 cards, that'll be the 4th card. And the 5th can just be a land, but it'll only be a 4/4 Murktide, which we actually are bigger than. So I don't think we pop this just yet. A Dragon's Rage Channeler. Sure, you got it. A Dark Ritual. Not necessarily the most useful card right now. I take it all back. I'm going to play a Nihil Spellbomb out. I'm going to attack with my 4/5 Nethergoyf. They could block and then Brainstorm here. Just going to take it, are they? I would like to Dark Ritual here. So we can hold up Sheoldred's Edict and Nihil Spellbomb activations if we want to. Can I play a creature that your deck will struggle to deal with? Unholy Heat is basically their only answer to this. But they're not going to be able to Unholy Heat it whilst we've got all this other stuff going on. I'm just thinking about if I'm ever going to want to Surveil land for it. I don't think I ever do want to Surveil land from this. Not this turn cycle anyway. I think I'm just going to go and get the Swamp now. So the Sheoldred's Edict means we do have an answer to a Tamiyo Planeswalker, but we're also kind of just keeping it in check with these spell bombs, and our beatdown plan is making it difficult for our opponent to leverage much of anything. Brazen Borrower is something they can have to deal with the Barrowgoyf. It's a temporary answer, but it will get out of play. We still have the other Goyf coming in. There is the Petty Theft on the Barrowgoyf, just as we drew it up. But we get to redeploy next turn. Around a daze as well. So it should come in with whatever they're not blocking with. I'll take 1. Am I firing this off now? I don't think so. I will attack with the Nethergoyf. We blocking with the Tamiyo yet? We are. I'll get the Barrowgoyf down. Just gonna keep their graveyard under wraps. Another Nihil Spellbomb, you say? We could have done this different timing so the Dragon's Rage Channeler has to attack, but I would like to also not have to face a Murktide Regent. Even though we have an answer for it, we may as well just use the tools we have so we don't need to use those cards on those things, because these are flexible things that can hit all of their creatures. Wow, just cracking that clear. That is not a sign of strength there. Right, so probably just going to fail push this guy and crack in for 8. That's most likely going to be game, I would imagine. Are we going to get anything back with our Barrowgoyf? Let's find out. A Nethergoyf and Orcish Bowmasters. I'll take an Orcish Bowmasters. I'll fire it in now. This is to play around daze, and then we want to play the Nihil Spellbomb as well. I don't mind them dazing a Spellbomb. I don't want them to daze our Bowmasters. So we have to play this order if we want to play them both this turn. Alright, our opponent just said a nice thing in the chat and then conceded, because they are very far behind here. So we finished with a 3-2 record, and the 2 rounds we lost were pretty close. We had to mulligan a whole bunch in one of them. Like, we mulled to 3 against Storm, and we're like 1 or 2 draws away from actually winning that one. So this is pretty close to a 4-1, and not even that far away from the trophy. I think this deck is really good. Let's talk about it. So obviously the package of like disrupting your opponent's hand with Thoughtreize and him to Tourach is a known quantity that is a good thing to do a lot of the time. We've got very efficient threats, so you know we've got our Nethergoyfs, we've got our Dauthi Voidwalkers, our Barrowgoyf Bowmasters as a disruptive threat, and then we have our new 1-drop in Cecil, who was fine. I was not impressed by it, but I also thought it was fine. You know, it felt like it was doing legacy power level stuff. Our opponent had to respect it. Yeah, I expect to see a little bit more of this card, and I think it slots really nicely into this shell. Maybe we can do a bit more stuff with it down the stretch. I've had some ideas with it already. In terms of the deck overall, I think this deck is really solid. It's basically like a bit like playing the Rock from the olden days, except you don't need green anymore because every colour has really good creatures, and in fact black has the best creatures, right? So you don't need to be green anymore. You just get to have your disruptive elements, your removal spells, and then your good threats. And we're just playing sort of good old-fashioned Magic with a little bit of panache coming from our Dark Ritual, where we can just go, oh, we're kind of jumping up the curve and you're having to deal with more than you expect. And that is fine. Honestly, I love playing decks like this. Kind of reminds me a little bit of playing pre-modern, actually. Just the play patterns of the deck, you know, we're like chipping away our opponent's hand, we're playing out these threats and turn them sideways. It's quite fun. Sideboard-wise, I would like to have maybe 1 more removal spell. But generally speaking, I'm pretty happy with what we've got here in the sideboard. Deck is just pretty cool. And I hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope you enjoyed watching Cecil do some stuff. It didn't get to do that much today, but people were prioritising killing this, and that is kind of a big deal, and it very nearly won us that mull to 3. So, not too shabby. Alright, please remember to like and subscribe. It does help the channel and doesn't cost you anything. A fair few of you lovely people out there watching this don't actually subscribe, so why not just hit the subscribe button and help me out. Alright, once again, thank you so much for watching, and goodbye. If you'd like to support me in the channel, please check out my Patreon. It has a free guide to budget turbo depths, as well as 3 tiers of support. A low cost one that enters you into my monthly raffle for a free donation deck on the channel, a mid-tier subscription that gives you access to my detailed turbo depths guide that is updated every month, as well as regular articles, and lastly the higher tier gives you all of the above, as well as a monthly donation deck for my channel. If you're interested in supporting the channel this way, please check out the link in the description.